I once asked you some time back that how do you give feedback post an assessment center? And you gave me a beautiful example, and it's etched in my memory forever. And I would like you to share it now using Hindi, Urdu, and English as you had done that day, um, because it's simply awesome.
I don't know, I gave you a number of examples, but I'll give you another one. It's okay. See, first of all, the word feedback. Marshall Goldsmith has got a lovely term, feed forward. Feedback is about what has happened. But having given feedback, the participant is left with, okay, what do I do? You've told me I didn't do X, or I didn't do Y, or I did A, or I didn't do B, whatever. What do I do with it? Either the participant feels elated or feels depressed, one of the two things. I approach it a bit differently. I tell the participant that you are a conscious person, you have an intelligence. The Hindi word is buddhijeevi. So I will narrate to you what were the possibilities in the exercise, and you relate to what you did or what you didn't do, and we'll talk about that. So I leave the onus for the person to identify on the person himself. It makes for a conversation rather than one-way street. And I try to give homemade, close to home examples.
Actually, that's the example I'm specifically seeking, where you talk about how you relate the knowledge, skill, attitude of a newlywed. That was a beautiful example. And if you could take us through
That's
that,
a long one. That's a very
but we
long
want
one.
to hear.
Actually, the example covers all BASK, all of it really. And this is what I use when I try to explain the concept of competency. It goes like this. Imagine a North Indian boy getting married to a South Indian Tamil Brahmin girl. They met in college, fell in love, and so on and so forth, ultimately persuaded the families, and everyone has agreed to it. So happy times. Actually, I'm going for a wedding on the 11th, similar wedding. The girl is from Muti, and he's a Punjabi from Delhi. And I expect something like that will happen there also. Let's see. So we have this ritual or rite in North India that the girl has to go to the kitchen and prepare something on the first day. And she gets some sort of a gift for that, a blessing and a gift. तो पिताजी कहते हैं, ससुर जी कहते हैं, भाई आज तो बच्ची का हाथ का हलवा खाएंगे. Let's name her Preeti. So Preeti hears this and she quietly says to her husband, just come with me to the room, please. I need to talk to you. So in the room, she says, look, I know how to make halwa. I've been taught how to make halwa, but I will not make halwa. I didn't get married to be a cook. If we need a cook, we'll hire a cook. I'll pay for the cook. So this poor chap goes back, makes excuses to his parents, and they smile and they say, देखो कहा था ना मद्रासी से मत शादी करो. मानते ही नहीं हो, पढ़ी लिखी से शादी कर ली तुमने. भुगतो अब. That is one enactment of a scene. Let's take a second enactment where the girl says, हाँ पापा जी, yes, yes dad, yes father-in-law, I'll do it. But भाभी, माँ जी आप साथ चलिए ना रसोई में. Come with me to the kitchen, invites her sister-in-law and mother-in-law. I'll learn from you and we'll make it together because I don't know where everything is kept. And they make it together and bring it. So that's another way of doing it. A third one is she's a bit shocked. She says, "All right, I'll go. I'll make it." Goes to the kitchen, picks up the ubiquitous mobile. "Mom, how do we make halwa?" And the mom from the other end says, "I told you for the last 5 years you were dating this North Indian boy. You will be required to do this. You didn't learn, but all right, take suji, take this, mix them up, fry them, do whatever." So some sort of something will come out of it and she'll bring it, and in all politeness, everyone will eat it. It may be rotten, but they'll eat it. And finally, there's this girl who says, "Yes, of course, I'll make it for you." She goes and she makes South Indian halwa. She doesn't make North Indian halwa. And she brings it. South Indian halwa is orangish in color. If you know, if you've eaten it in South Indian meals, North Indian halwa is brownish in color. And everyone tastes it, appreciates it. But the father in law just whispers to the mother in law, "ये हमारा पंजाबी हलवा तो नहीं बना. This is not North Indian halwa. It's good, but it's not what we want." So, what has happened in the four? Behavior has been demonstrated differently by the four of them. Attitude has been demonstrated differently by the four of them. Different levels of skill have been demonstrated, and different levels of knowledge have been demonstrated. Now, an example such as this registers in the candidate's mind because it's very close to home. He, he or she has experienced it, most certainly, especially when these people come for assessments at the age of 35, 32, 35, they've all experienced it. And this generation, they all come from love marriages, most of them. Or they get married, mutually educated, mutually experienced professionals get married. And the girl is very likely to react this way. There's nothing unusual about it. I'm not passing judgment. It's normal, natural behavior. Now, having laid this foundation of behavior, attitude, skill, and knowledge, you take the person through each competency and then keep referring back to this kaun sa behavior, kaun sa attitude, kaun si skill, kaun sa knowledge. It registers.
It greatly impressed me also, and I've been kind of taking a leaf from the way you give feedback, and I've been giving it as well. It registers, and that's how it makes a difference, or they want to change.
See, there is a difference between saying, "Let's talk of strategy," for example, and we find that the person's perspectives are limited. No, one can say feedback, one can say you demonstrated limited perspective. He can't make head or tail of that statement. But if you say to the person, "You're a factory man, if you stand at the ground level, what is your perspective of vision?" He says, "A kilometer, 2 kilometers." And then I ask him if he climbs to the top of the chimney, the smokestack, and looks at the world from there. He says, "Yes, of course, I will see a different world." I said, "Now translate that into the case. You're supposed to look at various perspectives from the corporate viewpoint, not from your sectional viewpoint. And what did you do?" And he relates to the example.
So thank you so much. As always, every time I interact with you, I learn a lot. Anything else that you would like to wrap up this session on talent assessment?
One appeal to corporates and HR functions is to take the accountability and responsibility of taking the process forward from the point of the center. And let's assume the feedback has been given, the calibration has been done, and all this has been handed over the candidate to the candidate. It's easy to say that the responsibility for growth is that of the candidate. It is, of course it is. But each one of us across the world requires handholding. Some require more, some require less, but they do need a safety net or a security net. And they need a way forward. And that is where I think the responsibility of both corporates, the chief executive particularly, and his HR function begins. आपने Formula One गाड़ी दे तो दी, उससे कह दिया, you have told him that or her that she needs to improve how to drive a Formula One car. But how will she learn? Unless you give a racetrack, you give multiple cars, you give multiple challenges so that she can test her skills and develop her skills in multiple situations. That is true of all competencies also.
So thank you very much, sir. This has been so very useful, and we hope to tap into you again for another episode of Meaningful Conversations. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you. Most welcome, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.